There I was, trying to fall asleep with giant spiders outside my tent in the middle of a village in the rural outskirts of Kampala, Uganda, feeling discontent and conflicted, and not just because of the spiders. I was in a place that I had dreamt about for 4 years, planning to live there one day. I was getting to love on orphan babies, enjoying the warm African sun, and even got to fulfill my dream of going on a safari to see giraffes in their natural habitat. Yet, I was discontent. I was disappointed that my expectations were let down. I felt out of place among a culture that's so different from my own and was feeling a growing desire for the people of my own hometown, which is strange because before my trip, it was the opposite. God used that whole month that my friend and I were in Uganda to teach me a much different message than I thought He would. In the midst of my annoyance that the culture was not time oriented, feeling out of place due to my skin color, and not knowing how to speak to people who didn't know English or how to minister to them for that matter, God showed me how He had been using me in my hometown in the culture that I understand because it's where I'm from. He reminded me that I understand the culture, so I have an insight that other people don't, just as I didn't have insight into the culture of Uganda like the nationals there did. It gave me a newfound desire to be home and serve, not always dreaming of being in Africa like I had before. Little did I know that God was filling me with knowledge of His will and spiritual wisdom, as Colossians talks about during this time. Upon coming home, I got engaged a few days later, and then we got asked to be on staff at a discipleship school that is just 10 minutes from where I live, or where I was from. Due to what I had just experienced, I knew that God was calling me to my hometown, and all of a sudden it made sense. I could confidently say yes to the offer to come, knowing that it was God's desire for me, based on the experience in Uganda. Before that trip, I believe I would have always wondered why I had a passion for Africa and would have felt a discontent being a missionary in my hometown. But now I can see God's wisdom in allowing me to be let down, to show me to let go of my dreams and to trust Him and what He had for me. This reminds me to keep in mind that God works in many ways, and although we may not understand in the moment what He is doing, He will fill us with knowledge of His will if we ask Him for it and continue to seek Him, even when we don't know why things are happening the way they are. Along with giving us the spiritual wisdom and understanding in His perfect timing, He will strengthen us with all power for endurance and patience with joy to wait on and trust Him, as Colossians says. And for that, I am very grateful.